HODL, DEX, yield farming. If you're new to crypto, you probably saw many weird terms that you don't fully understand, and it can be really frustrating. But fortunately for you, I brought my crypto dictionary, and in this video I will explain the main terms so that you can finally understand all of these crypto conversations. If you don't know me, I'm Julien, and on my channel EatTheBlocks I explain blockchain technology. Let's start with some terms about trading. ATH, all-time high. It just means that the cryptocurrency reached the highest price ever. Next we have altcoin. So altcoin is anything that isn't Bitcoins, for example, Ethereum, Cardano, etc. They are all altcoins. So the reason why we use this classification is because Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, so everything that came after was put in this category called altcoin. Then we have bags. So a bag is the cryptocurrency that you have in your portfolio. So if someone asks you, show me your bag, it means tell me what you have in your portfolio. Then we have bullish and bearish. So bullish is when the market is going up and bearish is the contrary. And an easy way to remember this is to think about how these two animals attack. So for bulls, the way they attack is like this. So it's going up. It's difficult to imitate a bull, huh? But it's easier with a bear. So with a bear, the way they attack is so it's going down. Then we have exchange. So an exchange allows you to trade your cryptocurrencies. For example, if you have some Bitcoin, you want to sell it, so you're going to sell it on an exchange. There are two kinds of exchange, centralized and decentralized exchange. I will explain decentralized exchange after, but very briefly, as a beginner, you'll probably start with centralized exchange like Binance or Coinbase. Then we have fiat. So fiat is quote unquote real money like dollar, euro, etc. So you have cryptocurrency here and then you have a fiat currency here. Then we have FOMO. FOMO means fear of missing out, or in other terms, greed. So when you see, for example, Bitcoin that is going up, you feel like you're missing out, you want to buy Bitcoin. So that's FOMO in action. And you can even use this as a verb. You can say, for example, oh, I saw Bitcoin going up and I FOMO'd in and I bought some. Then we have FUD, FUD for fear, uncertainty, and disinformation. So this is something that people will tell you if you criticize some coin and they have a lot of it and they don't want you to spread some negative stuff, so they will tell you, oh, don't spread FUD. But in general, on crypto Twitter, people tend to use this term a little bit too easily. Then you have HODL. So HODL just means to keep your coins. So if you are new to crypto, it's possible that you will freak out when you see some big price movement, like for example, Bitcoin can crash and after it can go back up. And so if you're new, you say, oh, I'm scared, blah, 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 I want to sell. And some people will tell you, no, just HODL, HODL. It means you just keep your coin no matter what. Then we have KYC for know your customers. So you will learn how to hate these terms. So basically, when you register for a new account at a centralized exchange like Coinbase, they need to verify your identities. So this is usually a long and painful process where they ask you a ton of stuff like your passport, a picture of you holding your passport, and your face and the info of the passport needs to be in the same picture. It's not even possible to do it. And anyway, it can last a few weeks of back and forth, and finally your identity is verified. You are allowed to trade on the exchange, but it's just a major pain. And one of the main advantages of DeFi is that you don't have KYC. And I will explain what is DeFi after. Then there is Lambo. So if you hang out on crypto Twitter, you will see people talking a lot of Lambo. So the dream on crypto Twitter is to become rich and with the money to buy a Lambo. So usually it's just a joke, so don't take it too seriously. Then you have long and short. So long means that you buy crypto and short means the contrary. You bet on the decrease of the crypto. So it's not always possible to short a crypto. This is something for advanced traders. So as a beginner, usually you will just use long, you will not use short. Then you have liquidity. So if you have a high liquidity for a crypto, it means that there are a lot of people that are willing to trade. So that means that you're going to get a better price. And if you have a low liquidity, that means like fewer people are willing to trade. So this happens for some coins that don't interest most people. So usually what happens in crypto is that you have a few very famous coins like Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc. that attract all the liquidity, and then you have a long tail of other crypto assets with a very low liquidity. Then we have Maximalist. So a coin maximalist is someone who has a lot of a coin like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, and they reject any criticism against the coin. It's basically like a tribe, and these guys usually they are the one who will tell you stop spreading FUD about my coin. So usually it's a bit stupid to be a coin maximalist, like cryptocurrency in general. We are all in it for similar reasons, so yeah, don't be a maximalist. Then you have market cap. So market cap, this is the price of a crypto multiplied by the total number of coins. So for example, currently Bitcoin, the market cap is something like 650 billion or something like this. The total market cap of all the crypto currently, it's about $1 trillion. Then you have moon. So moons means that coin is going to increase a lot. And sometime on crypto Twitter, you see some people posting when moon means when the coin is going to take off like crazy. Then you have pump and dump. So it's basically Telegram group of people who get together and say, we're going to pump this coin. So we're all going to buy this coin. And after we're going to dump it once we make the price go up a lot. Usually when you hear this, it's pretty negative. Maybe it means there is some scam going on. So in general, you want to stay away from pump and dump. Then you have Rekt. So Rekt means that you lost a lot of money. So for example, you buy Bitcoin at the top and then it crashed and then you say, oh guys, I got wrecked. So you don't want to get wrecked. Then we have Shitcoin. So Shitcoin is a crypto that you think is a scam or should have a super low value. So you don't want to buy Shitcoin basically. Then you have Shill. So Shill is when someone try to promote a coin because they have it in their bag and so they want the price to go up. So on crypto Twitter, when someone starts to be a little bit too promotional, some other people will tell him, hey dude, like stop to shill your coin. Then you have Whale. So Whale is a trader that has a lot of money and then does some really big trades. So we say that the crypto market are always moved by whales. These guys usually have a huge influence on the market. So it's a good idea to pay attention to what whales are doing on the market. Okay, so next we're going to talk of terms about DeFi. DeFi means decentralized finance. So this is basically how to reinvent finance, but on the blockchain. DeFi mainly happened on the Ethereum blockchain, but now you start to have some other DeFi ecosystem that start to get popular, like on the Binance Smart Chain, for example. So the first DeFi term is Airdrop. So Airdrop is when a DeFi project want to issue some coin and give them to the public. Usually in an airdrop, they will give a fixed amount of token to any address that interact with the protocol. Then you have CeFi. CeFi means centralized finance. So it's basically everything that is not DeFi. So we're basically talking of traditional finance, banks, stock market, etc. Then you have Chad. So Chad is basically a sort of super user of DeFi, someone who's going to make a lot of money and is always ahead of the curve. Then we have DEX or decentralized exchange. So decentralized exchange allow you to trade cryptocurrency. However, the big difference with a DEX is that there isn't any centralized counterparty. So nobody can censor you, nobody can block your fund, and also there is no KYC. And it's also better for small coins that will probably have a hard time to get listed on centralized exchange. Another thing you might hear about is DEX aggregators. So DEX aggregator are DeFi projects that connect to different decentralized exchanges and allow you to get the best price. So as a user, you don't have to manually compare all the price of all the DEX. You just use a DEX aggregator and automatically you get the best price. Then we have Degen, that means degenerate. So that's typically someone who is going to take some huge risk in DeFi, like going all in on a new project that haven't been audited yet. So you probably don't want to be a degen. Then we have Flashloans. So Flashloan is a mechanism of DeFi that allow you to borrow a lot of money. You can borrow millions without any collateral, but you can only use this money in a single transaction, and you can use this money to make even more money with arbitrage or liquidation. If you are interested in Flashloan, check out on my channel. I have a ton of video about Flashloan. Then there is something called liquidation. So in DeFi, it's possible to borrow money, not with a flash loan. A flash loan is just for one transaction, but here I'm talking of borrowing money for the long term. So when you do this, you need to provide a collateral to guarantee that you will always be able to reimburse the loan. But sometimes the value of the collateral falls below the value that you borrowed. And so in this case, we say that your position is underwater and anybody can reimburse your loan and get rewarded for that. Then we have hacks. So sometimes DeFi projects get hacked, and these hacks are also called exploit. And so I'm going to talk of a few terms that you might see in the domain of hack or security. So one term is white hat hacker. White hat hacker is a security professional that hack project but give them the money back because he just want to help the project fixing the security problem. But a black hat hacker is someone that takes the money and doesn't give anything back. Another thing you'll hear about DeFi security is audit. So you want to make sure that you only invest in DeFi projects that have been audited. That means that there is a team of professionals that make sure that there are no security vulnerabilities. Then we have staking. So with staking, you are going to lock your crypto for a certain time. And for all this time, when your crypto is locked, you are going to receive some interest. Then we have tokens. So tokens are a kind of crypto asset. There are two kinds of token, ERC20 and ERC721. ERC20 are what we call fungible token. Fungible token is like money. Any token can be exchanged against another one. But an ERC721 token is non-fungible. That means that it represents something unique, like some piece of art. Most of the time in DeFi, we're talking of ERC20 token. So a lot of people wonder what's the difference between a token and a coin. So usually coins are native cryptocurrency of blockchain like Ether, but tokens are crypto assets that can be created by anybody inside a blockchain. For example, you, me, we can create any token we want in Ethereum. But of course, we cannot create the native crypto of Ethereum, which is Ether. Another thing you hear about token is minting or burning. So minting means to create new token and burning means to destroy token. Then you have yield farming. So yield farming is a DeFi technique that allows you to make a lot of money. So basically you will constantly study the different DeFi protocol and move your money in the DeFi protocol that give you the highest yield. Sometimes instead of yield farming, you will hear liquidity mining. It's very similar. Next, we're going to talk of some terms about the blockchain technology. First, we're going to see address. Address is a string of characters that is used to identify an account. When you buy some crypto like Bitcoin or Ether, it's associated to your address. And you can transfer crypto from your address to the address of someone else. Then we have blocks. So the blockchain is a decentralized database, and the way information is organized in a blockchain is by block. So every time we add a new information in a blockchain, we add a block, and all these blocks are linked. Then we have Dapps or decentralized applications. So these are basically applications that we build on top of the blockchain technology. So not all blockchain support Dapps. So Ethereum supports Dapps, but Bitcoin doesn't. For example, DeFi applications are a kind of Dapps. Then we have forks. So sometimes a part of the blockchain community doesn't agree with the evolution of a blockchain. So in that case, you will have a part of the miner that will use a certain version of the blockchain software and another part that will use another version. And so the blockchain will diverge and create this fork. So this happened in the past a lot with Bitcoin, but for Ethereum, we didn't really have this problem. Then we have mining. So mining is the act of adding data to the blockchain. So in the world, there is an army of these miners that constantly add new blocks to the blockchain. And the reason they do this is because they get paid doing so. Then we have a node. A node is a computer in a blockchain network that is running the blockchain technology. So anybody can run a blockchain node. You just have to install the software of, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum and run it on your machine. Then we have POW for proof of work and POS for proof of stake. Proof of work is an older consensus mechanism. It was used first in Bitcoin, then in Ethereum. The problem of proof of work is that it requires to use a lot of energy, so a lot of blockchain are moving to proof of stake, including Ethereum 2.0. Then we have smart contracts. Smart contracts are small programs that live on the blockchain. So not all blockchains support smart contract. Ethereum supports smart contract, but Bitcoin doesn't. And these smart contracts allow to do things much more complex than just transferring some cryptocurrency. For example, tokens are created as a smart contract. Before I also mentioned decentralized applications. Decentralized applications are built with a smart contract. Then we have scaling. So scaling means to make the blockchain able to process more transactions. Currently, the big problem for many blockchains like Ethereum is that they can only process a very limited amount of transaction per second, and that really prevents them from having mainstream adoption. So that's why in the blockchain world, you will hear about a lot of projects that are tackling the scaling problem. Then we have sidechain or L2 scaling solutions. These are sort of secondary blockchain that connect to main blockchain like Ethereum. And usually these blockchains are much more scalable, but they are less secure than the main blockchain, and it's a little bit less easy to use them. Currently, sidechains are still in their infancy, so we still have to wait a little bit before we can see some mature sidechain ecosystem. Then we have transaction. Most people think that transaction is just when you send your crypto to someone else, but it can be a little bit complex. So for example, on Ethereum, a transaction can just be when you send some Ether to someone, but it can also be when you interact with a smart contract. And in this case, you can do something a little bit more complex. For example, if you interact with a decentralized exchange, you will send a token, and in exchange, you're going to get another one. Or it could be something more complex. But a transaction means an update of the blockchain, and it doesn't necessarily mean a financial transaction. Something related to transaction is transaction fees. So when you send a transaction to the blockchain, you need to pay the miner. Gas is an abstract unit that allows you to measure the transaction fees on Ethereum. So gas is a whole topic on itself. I actually have a full series on this on my channel. Then we have wallet. You manage your own wallet. The blockchain doesn't do it for you. And that's the wallet that's going to create transaction that you will send to the blockchain. So you as a user, when you want to interact with the blockchain, you will use your wallet. And inside your wallet, you have something very important, which is called a private key, but we'll see this later. Then there is something called a weight. So one weight is a very small fraction of Ether, and that's the unit that is used in transaction in Ethereum. On Bitcoin, we have a similar concept. It's called Satoshi, and on most blockchain, you have also a similar system. But that's something really at a technical level, but most users don't see this weight unit directly. Wallet usually express transfer in terms of a whole Ether or a Bitcoin. Then there is something called a 51% attack. So that's when a majority of the miners decide to hack the blockchain by forking the blockchain and creating this fake version of the blockchain. And so if they are more than the majority, they can make it. But in practice, for established blockchain network like Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's absolutely impossible to do a 51% attack. Then we're going to talk a little bit of cryptography. So there is something called a hash. So a hash is a digital fingerprint. It's used everywhere in crypto, so it's important to understand it. So usually with a hash, you're going to have some data in input, and then you're going to have something called a hashing function, and in output, it's going to give you a fixed length string of character that is a digital fingerprint of the data in input. So as a user, one way you will interact with hashes will be with transaction hash. When you send a transaction to the network, the thing that will identify this transaction will be the transaction hash. Then you have something a little bit more advanced called a Merkle tree. So a Merkle tree allows you to do a digital fingerprint of a group of data. For example, in each block in the blockchain, we want to identify all the transactions. So we're going to take the hash of all the transactions and we are going to hash them together. So if you want to understand the exact process, it actually look like a triangle. First, you take the hashes of all the transactions, then you hash them 2 by 2. So then at the second level of the pyramid, you get half the number of hash and you continue until you have a final hash. But if that's too complex, that's fine. Just remember that a Merkle tree is a hash of a group of data. Then there is something called private and public key. So private key, this is basically like your password. It allows you to sign transaction. So anyone who has your private key will be able to impersonate yourself and steal all your crypto. So your private key is kept inside wallets. So private keys are associated to public key. So public keys can be showed to anybody, there is no problem. It's very easy to go from the private key to the public key, but it's almost impossible to go from the public key to the private key. Then you have signature. So a signature is generated with a private key and it's put inside a transaction. And when you send this transaction to the blockchain network, the computer on the blockchain network, they can verify that your transaction is legit by checking this signature. Then there is something called HD wallet or hierarchical deterministic wallet. So that's a method that is used by wallet to generate several private keys. So it starts by generating a master private key, and after it will create a hierarchy of private key. So this allows you to easily generate many addresses. It's used by most wallets, but most people aren't aware of this and they just generate one address and they don't know that they have this possibility of generating all of these addresses with the wallet. If you are curious about this, you can research something that is called BIP39. So now that you know the main terms of crypto, next time you see some crypto discussion, hopefully it can make more sense. And the next step is to dig deeper in the blockchain technology. And for that, I have a video that explains how blockchain work. You just have to click here. I'll see you there.